Oh, I want to go to Rome. I want to go to Rome right in this moment. What do you say? I can't do that? Why can't I do that? I mean, I can pack my suitcase and then I can go to the train station and take the train and go to Rome. Why can't I do it? What? Oh, you say I have to record my next Dephemerember video here? Well, you are probably right. And of course, Dephemerember is priority A on the list, on the very top. But this thing gives me the chance to take out my very, very first junk journal. And that is what you can see here. And I made this journal when I went to Rome several years ago. And when I see this, I nearly can't believe that I have this here, because this was the starting point of my junk journal journey. And this is what junk journaling is for me. So somehow nothing has changed. So what I see here, I still like what I see here, even if this is something very old. And this is how I started junk journaling. But perhaps that is also the main point why this is so interesting and why this has so much worth to me, not only because of all of the memories which are in here, but also because this is the first journal I ever made. So I thought I take this journal out because in here there's something which I want to use as inspiration for today's prompt. And that is this little weird and a little quirky cat here. Hi, this is Luise Heinzl. Welcome here to Dephemerember 2024. Oh, this is the English version of the prompt list. With today's prompt, apothecary label and quirky cat or dog. In my case, it's going to become a quirky cat, as you can guess, because I want to turn this cat into my own version on the one hand and into an interactive element for my journal on the other hand. And I also want to do something that I really enjoyed doing in the past, and that's one of my favorite techniques, but somehow I stopped doing that. And that is what you can see here in the background. This is stamping with bubble wrap. I have already chosen a page here in my Dephemerember journal, and that is this page here. This journal was made by my dear friend Barbara at 49 Dragonflies. She is the second host of Dephemerember, so besides myself, we are doing this whole fun together. So every day you see a video here on my channel, you can find a video on her channel as well, where she shows you another idea on the prompt of the day. So please make sure to check out her channel today and on the other days as well. I want to turn it into a little like table with apothecary bottles and the cat either here or here. I think the cat will go here. So let's start on this page. I want to try something. I want to take some acrylic paints. I have chosen the distress paints for doing that, but you can use like normal acrylic paint as well. I have chosen the colors Lost Shadow, Pumice Stone, Vintage Photo, and Gather Twigs. I will add a little bit of water so that they get really translucent. I'm going to start with the grayish colors here, and now I want to try to paint some bottles here. I want to have them really translucent. That's why I added the water. When I have that and this is still wet, I go in with a little bit of brown. Use my finger tool to blend this a bit. Let's then take a piece of bubble wrap, spritz a little bit of water on here. I'm hoping that I can perhaps lift up a little bit of the paint with my bubble wrapping, the bubble wrap, what is the correct word? Oh, yes, look. Then we have this cool pattern here. Let's make this dry again. I don't want to have this too regular. I also want to stamp a little bit of this pattern from the bubble wrap to the background before I just spritzed to myself before I paint the next bottle. So I just put the acrylic paint on the bubble wrap and then I stamp with it, and that gives a really nice effect. Ah, I love that. Let's then dry the bottle here. And now I want to paint the second bottle here, but it shall look like the bottle was in front of the other one. So I will take my gray paint, which is already mixed a little bit with brown, but that really doesn't matter, and just paint over this.
Dephemerember, where hearts unite. With every piece we shine so bright.
Since these bottles are still a little bit invisible because they are blended a little bit too well to the background, I want to bring them out with a little bit of crayon. So I have some gray crayon here, the distress crayon, and some brown. So what I'm going to do now is I just take this, I start with the gray, I think, and I go along here, scribble a little bit over this, and then I can smear that with my fingers. You could do this step, of course, with more acrylic paint as well to bring out some more details and give this a little bit more, yeah, let's call it definition or so. But I like to use different mediums so that, yeah, this gets a little bit some kind of a mixed media page.
Across the world our spirits soar, creating together forevermore.
I think we can bring even a little bit more interest to these labels here by stamping with a stamp, or let's say portions of a stamp. I have chosen this here from Note Quotes CMS 463 by Stampers Anonymous and Tim Holtz. And I want to take this with some ground espresso archival ink. Let's see if that's dark enough. I will ink, sorry, I will ink only one corner of the stamp so that I then can stamp into the corner of my bottle label here. We can also, with such a stamp, add a little bit like smudge, sludge, whatever, to other areas. And then we have this. I like this. But you know me, I can't stop here. I want to take this stamp set, which is called Tidbits CMS 488, and first stamp a little bit to the labels, but I think not with ground espresso, but with vintage photo.
From simple scraps to colors bold, we wrap our stories into gold.
So while this is drying, I'm taking a white Posca pen because I want to have even more interest. I want to have some, how is this called? Ribbon thread? No, don't know. So I want that looks like something is wrapped around the neck of the bottle here.
Each prompt a spark, a joyful ember, bringing warmth in Dephemerember.
Since this is pretty white, let's also with this pen add some highlights to the bottles here and there.
Dephemerember, where hearts unite. With every piece we shine so bright. Across the world our spirits soar, creating together forevermore.
I have the scraps Barbara has sent to me here. Oh, this is perhaps a little bit too yellow, but perhaps we can break that down a little bit with some ink. And I want to cut some pieces from here. This time I stamp with black soot. Then I'm going to glue these down. And let's give them the tiniest bit of a shadow. And then I'm going to take a little bit of this ideology tape. If you don't have something like this, you can of course also use regular tape and put some alcohol ink on it, or use some washi tape or so. Perhaps you've already realized that I'm ignoring this bottle here the whole time. Here's no label and no tape. That's because this bottle will be covered up by my cat in a second, so I don't want to put effort into this thing. And while this is drying, let's talk about the cat. When I see this cat, and also like real cats in Rome, I always have the feeling that the cats in Rome are the most quirkiest cats in the whole world. They are sometimes like bosses. They act sometimes really, really weird. I don't know if that is my feeling because I love Rome so much. Perhaps you have a cat and the cat reacts like weird or quirky as well. But I want to stay in this mood and with my emotions about the cats of Rome, because I want to turn this here now into my very own cat. And with a little twist, because I want to have this as an interactive element for my journal. I have already struggled a little bit with this idea during recording my German video. So since I have already done it, I have some tips for you. I mean, my struggling is good for you, because when I can tell you what you better not do, then, you know, you don't make the same mistakes like I do. Please find your own mistakes and make those. I went to my printer and made a copy of this photo, and then I have cut that out. As you can see here, just this circle, I've just cut around the circle. This is just some normal paper, normal copy paper. This is the size I want to have the cat later on in my journal. So I already did something, what I will explain now. And after I have explained that, I have a little surprise for you. As you can tell, that is a freebie, and I also want to use the freebie for this video. But I want to tell you how I made this thing, if you want to make it from scratch, from a photo as well. I mean, you could take this idea and take other photos you might have and turn that into such an interactive element as well. It doesn't have to be this photo, yeah? But if you want to have this, you can get it. So let me explain what I did. I have taken this, and then I have taken the lamp from yesterday. I will put in the German video footage here now to explain what I did. I have turned on the lamp, and I had cut 2 pieces of watercolor paper in exactly the same size like the circle from the cat is. Then I have taken the watercolor paper and this copy and put that over each other and then on the lamp so that I could trace the image of the cat. And for me, this cat has like 2 layers. You can see here the face and this arm, the body here, the belly and the legs, for me look like the top layer, and this leg, this, and these arms look like they are behind the top layer, or behind this, yeah, as a second layer behind the other one. So I have taken the second circle I have cut out from my watercolor paper, and on that I have traced only this, let's call it back layer, so that I had 2 different pieces in the end. And then I have cut those out, and before I went on during the German video, I turned the whole thing into a freebie, and that looks like this. That is, I think, the weirdest freebie I have ever made in my whole life. But what I did was, I have taken my little sketch here from the 2 layers and put that to my scanner so that you have the possibility to take these here and you have only the outlines of the cat, and you can then choose colors you like and, you know, customize the cat. This and this are the pieces of my finished cat from the German video. So I have put these to my scanner again to have this and this for you as well, if you want to have the same cat like I have in my journal here in your journal, or if you want to use this and customize that. And when I had that on my computer, I thought, well, here's so much space, and perhaps you want to decorate the cat a little bit or give her some accessories. So I have put some buttons here, some tickets and other things to decorate. And I will do the following thing. I will use this cat here and give the other cat in my journal, I mean the original one, a sister or a brother. If you want to use the plain cat from the printable, you can consider to print that to some watercolor paper. Then you can color the cat, for example, with a water-soluble medium like watercolor pencils. For the original cat, I have used the watercolor pencils by Tim Holtz and Ranger. I've just scribbled over the cat and then blended that with some water. And for the details, I have used a really thin black pen. That was this one here. It's called Pilot G Taxi 4. I have no idea if this is helpful, but this is really thin. And with that, I brought out the details here on the cat. And in the end, I splattered with some distress ink and also some pigment from one of the watercolor pencils. I have just splattered on here so that it looks a little more artsy. Worked really well. I was really surprised how easy that was. Let's then take an awl, and here is this little hole in the belly, and I thought that is a good position for the hole. And I want to have the single arms and the legs of the cat moving later. As I said, I want an interactive element. but I want to have everything movable. That means I'm going to take another piece of paper. It doesn't have to be round, this was just the test. It can be just a tiny piece of paper, small enough that if you put it behind here and you imagine that these pieces can move later, that you don't see this paper while the pieces are, for example, in such a position or so. I will make it even smaller, because in the German video it already happened to me that it didn't work, it was too big, and I realized it too late. Then we make something like this, just a little hole, and then we take a bread, which we don't have. Please take a small bread. I already know that I don't have the right size anymore. These are too small, that is too dangerous, and these are too big, but I have to use this one because I don't have another one. So let's see if that looks good, and if not, we have to live with it. Take the bread, fiddle it through here. I think it's okay. It's still okay. It's a little bit big. Well, take this, fiddle that through the hole as well. Take this and fiddle that through here as well. And then we have him or her like so. And then I want to have a circle here, somehow like a bubble or so, where the cat is in then. So I have just taken this as a template, but you can easily make a template for yourself depending on how big you want to have this circle, or perhaps you don't want to have a circle at all, then please just skip this step. I'm going to take a light crayon, in this case Lost Shadow. I go around here. That is a little bit stupid. Luise, please take a dark, ignore what I just said. Where's my Scotch timber crayon? That is a little bit stupid. Take a dark crayon, go around here, because then you have the shadow at the same time. Can you see? I go around this thing so that I have, on the one hand, the size of the circle. On the other hand, I already have a dark frame around the circle so that I can use that in a second to make a shadow around this bubble. It will make sense in a few seconds. Sorry, if you have that, then take the light crayon, or alternatively a light acrylic paint, like, you know, a light color mixed with water. If you want to imitate what I do here, you can of course use what you want and what you like. It doesn't have to be such a bubbly look, but I thought in combination with these bottles it would be cool to have something like a bubble. I will smear the gray color first, and then I clean my finger tool. And then I smear the brown crayon. And here I first smear the brown crayon a little bit to the center. And when I have that, I will also smear it a little bit to the outside so that it looks like a shadow. This step now makes this a little more round, like a ball or like a bubble, when it's smeared to the center. And the second step gives it a shadow, hopefully. That is the theory.
We share our dreams, our smiles and tears, building bonds that last for years.
Okay, I think I'm already really happy with this. But the cat has a lot of white in the face, and also here we have a lot of white. So let's take the Posca pen again, alternatively some white acrylic paint. And let's just add some highlights. This is definitely something I need to practice. As you can see, this is not so perfect, but I'm also not looking for perfection here, but I want to have fun. Yeah. But can we please take a little bit of this and try to get a little bit of the ink from the paint on here, pen on here, and stamp this here. Yeah, that makes it lighter on the one hand, but a little more artsy at the same time and not so concrete. I really like that. That's a good trick. Let's then take the cat and add glue only to this little square here. And I will now let this dry really well before I try the mechanism of this thing. And while that is drying, we can perhaps think about some flowers and also perhaps some tiny bubbles somewhere here, because this is the only bubble we have so far. By coincidence, I have this here. On my table. If you don't have these punches, perhaps you have die cuts, which you could use for making some different sizes of circles. And then let's just do the same thing like with the big circle. Go around here. I will start smearing here already because I see that that the most of the crayon is on the paper and not on the page. I just want to trace the circle like so, but I'm just realizing that I found out a new technique for making shadows. This is really easy. Oh my goodness, look, leave the circle on there and just smear the crayon from the paper of the circle to the page. That is completely easy. Oh my goodness. And let's try this trick here as well. That way you can scribble the crayon to the circle and you don't have it on the page in the first moment. And with that, you can decide how much you want to smear to the page. Oh my goodness, that is like, oh, that is genius, Luise. Oh, I'm so good. That is probably a trick you do every day. I'm the last person in the world who has found this out, but now I'm happy that I know how to do that in the future. Oh my goodness, I love it. I will fill the inner part of the circles with Lost Shadow crayon so that they look similar to the big one.
Through every craft, yours and mine, we find love in this special time.
Do it like this. This is even better. Scribble to this thing first, so then you don't have the danger to accidentally smear to your page. Oh my goodness, I'm so genius. I feel so clever. Okay, that is, oh my goodness. From another project, I have these die cuts left. And I thought, why don't I take these and use them up here somehow? Ooh, that is not so visible. Oh no. That is not so good. I also have this. Gitty. What if we put a little bit around the bottom half of the circle here? But somehow I have the feeling that this is not enough in the right color. I thought that these would work, but they don't. Okay, at least not in this color, but I want to have fun. I don't want to stress myself. Why don't you just go to your die cut machine and cut these out from white paper, you ask? Well, that seems to be way easier than what I'm doing here, but I want to use these up since I have them for such a long time in my stash. I just want to use them up. And this acrylic paint also gives a little bit of texture. If you open the bottle, then it gives texture. And I can still see a little bit of the original color and the pattern of the paper through it, and it's not completely white.
Scissors cut and colors flow, our community continues to grow. With each creation, love we render, binding us close in Dephemerember.
I know this is originally meant to use as a ticket. I mean, it's a ticket, but I want to turn this into a label somehow. Where is my... Here. I will just snip off the corners. Let's then make a little operation by carefully cutting into her hand here, even if I know that hand is not the right word, because then we can put a little bit of glue here. Oh, stop it, Luise. First, I'm so sorry. First, I want to do something else. I want to do, holy moly, I want to take a piece of paper which is similar color-wise to this thing. This is also from Barbara's shop. This is from the Damask Wallpapers printable. And I want to stamp the word art here, because I think the best medicine, I mean, you know, is art. And by the way, you can find all of the printables we've used to make our journals on our Dephemerember landing pages. The links to both of our landing pages are down below in the description box. How big do I want to have this? I don't know. There you can also find more information about Dephemerember and also all of the freebies, and also our Dephemerember song, which you could hear in portions in this video. And I've also told you about that special song in yesterday's video. You can there also find links to our Dephemerember mugs. This one here, for example, this is one of the designs, but we have another one as well. Unfortunately, I only have the German one here. This says, I don't need therapy, I just need the magic of Dephemerember, so this is available in English as well. My English one is in the dishwasher at the moment. But that doesn't mean that you can't get your own. Just check out the link. Perhaps it's a good idea to attach this label first to the hand of the cat and then decide for the position of the word art. So let's put a little bit of glue here and to the back of her thumb. And let's then glue this. Can we perhaps do something with this butterfly, or is that totally the wrong color? Ooh, I think I like this. What about this orange button here? And what if we then take more buttons, make a little arrangement here on the bottom to give her something to stand on. And I'm really excited to see what Barbara has done for today's prompt. If you want to see that as well, then please hop over to her channel and watch her video as well. If you don't know her yet, the link to her channel is down below in the description box, of course. Somehow I really like this. I will glue this down exactly like it is. Let's add a few more black splatters here on the bottom. These buttons look a little bit like too new and not so embedded. Just like this. And with that, I think this is finished. What do you think about this quirky cat? I find that really funny. And of course, you can also give her other things into her hands. You could even add more of these labels. I originally also thought about doing that, to give her labels into all of her hands. That would also be really funny. She had 3 more, but yeah, you know, you have options. There are a ton of possibilities with junk journaling and a ton of ideas perhaps also at the same time, and you have to decide for 1 or 2 or 3 of those ideas. Otherwise it will drive you crazy. So I've decided to give her only 1 label, but as I said, you could add more. So I'm really excited to see what you will do with this prompt. If you want to share that on social media, then please use the hashtag Dephemerember. I'm really excited to see what you will come up with, and perhaps you want to come back tomorrow when we tackle our next prompt, which is snippet roll and woven flowers. That's an interesting combination, isn't it? So see you tomorrow and have a very great and creative day. Bye bye.